Good morning. Well, we're a little late this morning. We slept in about half hour and then got out and was cold and which I've done this before when it's cold, but it was damn cold today. And so I said I'll wait till I came in. I came in, had my shower, which I usually have before going out, and now we're ready to start. Be right back. Our Prime Minister's wife has opened up a conference, or I'm not sure if it's actually a conference or more of an event, but either or, it's pretty important for women, and that women have the right to learn. And of course, they have the right to learn here. But back in the Middle East, there's a few, the Taliban and everything, don't believe that girls have the right to everything. And, they have to be carrying, was it the burqa or the burqa? And, women don't have the very many rights. And I really think this is terrible that, we tend, and most men, even in the Western cultures, are pretty well upset with women having to wear, the little hood with the little slit. And, most of us in the Western culture would say that's ridiculous. And though we don't have stipulations on women learning here or having an education, they're open to all education, no matter what. And we like to think that women are so much further ahead out here in Canada. Well, in some ways I think they are. However, so many of the things about they still get paid less than men do. They still get negative treatment. They still get sexually abused more than men. And, I'm not saying, well, let's get out there and let's get even with them, yeah. But I think we need to be more open that women should have the same rights as men, no matter what. Now, I can remember years ago when I was growing up that in the States there was affirmative action, and these were for people of the Negro or the Black. Again, I apologize. I'm not up to which term is politically correct now. Would go and they would be hired over someone else just so that they have certain numbers of black people working and certain numbers of white people working. And what ended up was, the white people got hurt, and, there was a lot of negativity about, the white people being negative out there. So, women need to have the rights too. Now, today's conference or event is called Strong Girls, Strong World. And, in a few countries, there was events. There was such as in the New York Stock Exchange, a number of women opened up the events, and which is great. um, let women or let girls learn is another one. And, I think we um, have to ensure that every woman gets the right to learn. And I don't care if you're sexist and think men are better at just certain jobs or whatever, but I think every girl has the right to grow up to what they can do. I don't think the affirmative action plan works for. I don't think that we should see in the States that doesn't really work. However, we've got to make sure that everyone, and I'm not talking girls only, I'm talking men and a whole bunch of others out there, we have to ensure that everyone who has the capability and who has the want will go out and be able to move ahead and get the education they so desire. But, then we sort of end up with another problem on the other end of the spectrum, is that if no one, if everyone is, taught and gets a university degree and such, and everyone will be wanting to be these great big managers and bosses, and there'll really be no one left to do the work. So I think we need to come up with some sort of system which we can take a look at these and come up with some sort of system where everyone is able to go to university if they have the skills, not based on what sex, that everyone, at least up to high school, has a right to any education. I don't care what their sex is. But, we have to ensure that, women can go ahead with their life, but that, no one's going to hold them back because they can't get an education. Now, in some of these male-dominant societies, it's think, well, women are the only good for one thing. The barefoot and pregnant was the approach up here for years. But, I think we have to drop that ignorant attitude. Not saying the people are ignorant. I'm just saying we've got to drop the ignorant attitude and allow women to get out and do what they can do. And, don't just stop and say, oh, well, no, you can't go because you're a woman. It could be a different thing. Oh, you can't go because, we don't think that you have the criteria to make it. But, not holding someone back for just their gender. But, it's something to think about. We'll be back in a moment. Okay, now, I've talked about this before in my news view or review, and, it's kind of idiotic, but we'll have to take a look at it. A body of a 56-year-old man, Kevin Nuff, was found over by North Road, which still is Burnaby. But, we have to take a look and say, well, why, first of all, was he living out in a ravine? It's a place, it's a homeless place, and everyone says, well, I don't want a homeless camp by me, they're a whole bunch of thieves and crooks. But you know what? I think a lot of times there are a whole bunch of thieves and crooks because they can't find work, they don't have any money, and they're trying to survive. And yet here we go and we keep putting them aside. Victoria just had a big legal battle over trying to have people move away from. They had a camp by their city hall, and you know what are these people going to do? You know, we'll keep doing these camps, and we'll keep moving them further and further away. Well, you know, we talked a bit about last week where there was a hotel fire in downtown Vancouver at an ex hotel where the people were just trying to stay warm or cook a meal, and they set the place on fire. And this wasn't only the first time, it was also a second time. I know I got shadows, but and while it is their fault that they probably didn't take care, it isn't their fault that they had to go and do this. Late night, someone gets hungry. It could be raining and they don't want to go out to, I don't know, a 7-Eleven to get a hot meal, or, they can't afford, but, we are so raring to go. Now, even if they had a sort of, I'm not going to say a cubicle, but, there's a secure place where they could have access to a bathroom or a kitchen, and they could hang up some stuff and they could lie down in a proper bed. But why do you think all these people are living on the streets? It isn't because they really want to. It's because we are so worried that, oh my God, we can't have a homeless camp near us, or, well, maybe we need to look more into affordable housing. And maybe we start looking at these more from a business plan. And I don't necessarily mean a business plan as to make money, but if you're in a business and people come in and they not investigate, but they do an inspection, and they find that you're not keeping your place up to the standards, well, you're terminated. And if things, everyone's so worried, oh, well, it costs that. We can't do that. No one wants to do any fundraising. And if it's fundraising for homeless people, a lot of businesses don't want to contribute. If you say you're homeless, you're pretty well knocked out of any sort of job opportunities you have. But, how are people supposed to get out and, find jobs if the prices just keep going up and, we keep demanding all this money and, people can't afford, to get a meal? The lines at the food banks grow longer and longer, and I've gone to one a couple of times, and, there's nothing wrong with these people. They just can't find work. And a lot of these people are pretty decent, and, everyone seems to think, oh, well, they just sit around smoking pot. And that's not the case. If you go there, you see the number of children that keep not hanging about, but are around there. Sorry, I'm still itchy. It must be the soap I'm using. But, we're getting to the season where they fill up the food banks. Everyone gives food. Oh, well, yes, yes. Somebody's not going to have a Christmas dinner. Oh, well, we'll invite them in and they can have Christmas dinner with us. Or they can um, do other things. But what about the rest of the time of the year? We don't take care of our own people, and yet a lot of times we're feeding millions of people around the world. And, I think that's important as well, but I think our own people a lot of times are the forgotten ones. And we need to ensure that people are allowed to develop. But they can't develop if they're hungry, if they don't have a place to live. And you say affordable housing, and everyone seems to think, oh, well, they want to live in a high rise, they want to have, the most expensive things just given to you. I think a lot of times they want to be happy just to go to a place, sit down, relax. If it's pouring with rain, they don't have to worry about it. And, a lot of our shelters are run on a shoestring. And we shouldn't allow this to happen. Every human being has basic rights. And we need to take care of these things. Something really to think about. Get out and make a change this year. I was just watching the news feed while the weather was on. And there's this story where two roommates were arrested and charged with manslaughter after they found their roommate in their Calgary townhome. And, where do you say, oh, well, yes, he's just miserable, and oh, well, let's just kill him? When does that sort of come into play? Now, I'm not saying that this guy wasn't a jerk or doing something to them also, but that's not the point. No one has the right to take human life. I don't care who you are. But, people seem to think that, their reason is the best reason and such and such. Well, I'm sorry, it isn't. We need to ensure that people have the right to life. Now, someone, there's a war and someone's all aghast over this. But in our own home, if someone's murder, oh well, it's just another murder. I don't know where we lose the feeling for someone being killed. Oh well, it's natural selection, and that people will pass away, and if they don't, the food supply will shrivel up. And I heard this years ago. People would say, well, this is the fight of the fittest. Well, haven't we gone over that? Haven't we progressed? I think that we need to be able to solve our issues better than just saying, oh, well, he bumped into me on the street. Oh, well, we should kill him for that. And in some cases, it's just being that bad. And, we watched, it's calmed down now, but for early in the summer, it was at Trump rallies. Oh, get rid of this person. And, I don't think that's funny. And we've got to come up with ways of solving our own issues. And, we don't do it well. There's still people being killed, Oh, we have a disagreement, whatever the cause, and I'm not going to get in what the causes are. But, if we keep doing this, then people are going to keep getting killed. But we'll see. I'm really surprised that we've got this far in society. And say, oh, well, you know, for murder, and these people end up walking. Well, I think we've got to get out and we've got to allow people to disagree, but we don't allow them to go out and kill one another. And I think enough is enough. It's something really we have to think about and solve. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye. But the fight of the fittest thing kind of goes out the window. And that would be, pretty well, if you get cancer, you might as well just die off. You get diabetes, oh well, you might as well die off. And just let the rest of us get to work. We don't need hospitals then. And I don't believe this. I'm just saying, how many people, when they get sick, they could be making millions, but, oh well, we need hospitals, we need better health care. However, when they're well and everything, they don't care about other people. But when they get ill, oh well, yes, you all have to run and take care of me, which is a whole bunch of garbage. But, Trump keeps out there, and that's pretty well what he's saying, that, everything centers around his type of person. Now, I'm not saying he's saying, white men. That could very well be what he's meaning. But, Hispanics, he cuts down on women. So it's the whole thing. We need to get back to take care of us. Now, us being everyone. I did an awful lot of working in business. And, people say, oh, well, you're an NDPer. And, I believe in business. Business drives what we can do. And we need to make sure that we have a strong business sense and that people are aware of what we're doing. But, we don't take a look. It's either, and we see this in the States, it's us against them. And, I think the States would do better if there was a strong third party race. But there isn't. It's only, oh no, you're either a Republican or you're a Democrat. And, if you're a Democrat, no, you can't vote. Even though a person on the other side may have strong answers to the problems of the country. Oh no, they're a Democrat. No, they can't get in. Or they're a Republican. Oh God, no, they don't have the answer. I think we've got to start changing. In Canada, we do have a few smaller parties out there. But, they do get in and have different beliefs. But, when an election's called, anyone can get out there to win it. So, it's time that we take care of one another. Maybe I would be a liberal NDP conservative. We'll talk to you later. Bye now. All right. My back was giving me problems, so I'm just going to lay down. I think we're learning things from the U.S. presidential election. The basis of all our religions, well, maybe not the basis, but the good parts in Canada, we do unto others as they would do unto you. And I've mentioned this a number of times, but bullying is up in schools, and I think we've got to really stop following Trump right through the whole thing. But that's my thought. Be kind to one another. I think that's Ellen's saying. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.